forget about the 10% of the business that you can't systemize, because maybe that's like your Picasso, or that's your kind of genius. But all the other stuff around that makes that art possible is just stuff. And so don't worry about what you can't systemize. Focus on the 80, 90% that you can systemize.
What's up, everybody? You're listening to the Hustle and Flowchart podcast with your boys, Matt Wolf and Joe Fear.
Hey, Dale. Great to have you here, man.
Hey there, guys.
Well, hey, it's we were chatting about just prior to the recording. We got to give a thanks to Jackson Milan for making the intro here for us. And we were going down the rabbit hole and kind of looking into you, and we're like, oh my God, what haven't you done in business? It seems like you've been everywhere, country-wise. You've written every book, or at least a lot of books.
No, he's written them all. They're all his.
Written them all. And
hold on.
Very interesting. I know you know, when we spoke, you were telling me about the changes since COVID, but you've done a lot of speaking around the world. I mean, obviously, many countries bringing the family everywhere with you as well. So, yeah, it's great to have you. And I want to hear, you know, kind of your background, you know, what got you into this whole field and into all these different ventures, but also kind of the changes through the pandemic and maybe some reshaping of the business, and telling folks along the way how you can do all this without, you know, going crazy.
Yeah, sure. All right. Well, I'll try to kind of give a little bit of a background, weave in a couple of potential topics, and then feel free to kind of stop me anytime if you want me to go deeper on any points. But yeah, I've had kind of like almost like a few lifetimes so far. And by that, I mean, and I grew up in Sydney, Australia. I had a lot of energy as a kid. I suppose I probably, if I was born today, would have been diagnosed with, ADHD or something along those lines. I could never sit still, always climbing trees, jumping off roofs and things like that. And so my mum put me into the sport of gymnastics when I was 6 years old. And then by the age of 9, I made the sort of state and then the national squad. And training was pretty intense. Anyone that knows about gymnastics, the training is insane. It was by the age of 11, I was training 36 hours a week in the gym on top of going to school. So it was basically like a full-time job as an 11-year-old. And I learned a lot of lessons. That was kind of like my success school in a way, because I learned about hard work. I learned about being disciplined. I learned about delayed gratification. I learned about how to motivate myself. But the most important lesson that I learned from my sporting career was the value of having a coach, because there's two ways to do anything in life. One is through trial and error. Doing it on your own. Problem with that is it just takes 10 or 20 years to get anywhere. And so if you want to compress time and you want to get to where you want to go faster, of course, the way to do that is by finding someone that already has done what you want to do and do whatever it takes to learn from them. And so we call that person a coach. And so they have a formula or a blueprint or a recipe to follow, and you follow the formula and you can cut down probably 80 to 90% of the time that it takes to achieve your goal. So that just made total sense to me. So that was basically my childhood and teenage years was spent either at school or at the gym. And when I was not doing that, I was basically doing homework and sleeping and eating, and that was my life until I finished that when I was 18 years of age. And I lasted about 6 months. I decided not to go to university because there were so many things that I wanted to do. I just wanted to explore the world. So I just went and started working at a company for 6 months. But that's when I realized I need to start my own business. I just thought that maybe it was from my gymnastics training that like everyone just moves so slow, and that people were just like doing the bare minimum to get by. Like I was always pushing the boundaries, and I would kind of like run between rooms so I could get there faster, so I could get be more productive. And it was just like I couldn't get it how people were just like showing up just to get a paycheck. And so that's when I decided to start my first business, and basically I've been building different businesses ever since. Knew nothing at the beginning, but like I mentioned, always believed in having coaches. So I would be always going along to courses, workshops, anything that I struggled with. I'm like, who's done this and who can I learn from? So after, about 3 or 4 years of kind of getting pretty average results, I started to, get pretty good at business and started to learn and grow and expand. And so that first business, we were able to expand it into 7 different countries. Wow. It's still running to this day, 20 years later, which is great. I ended up leveraging myself out after about 7 years, and then my business partner took it over and still runs that company to this day. Then I decided to write and publish books, which I can expand on further. So I published 19 books now as part of a series called the Secrets Exposed series, which has been amazing, a lot of fun to put together. So I can unpack that. And then I've had a few other businesses along the way. But the main company that I've had for the last 12 years is called Business Blueprint. And it's a business education and training company, mainly in Australia and New Zealand, but it's now expanding around the world. And I love working with entrepreneurs to help them to really unlock the full potential of their business. So that's kind of my focus. And a potential topic we can talk about as well is how to build a multi-million-dollar business, but how to make sure you've build the lifestyle along the way as well. So prior to COVID, my wife and I, we have 2 kids. We'd structured our business so we did 2 months 2 months home, and then 1 month traveling the world. 2 months home, 1 month travel, 2 months home, 1 month travel. So each year we travel about 4 months of the year. And we've now been to 85, all 7 continents and 85 countries around the world as a family. And so what I'd love to be able to do is kind of unpack for people how they could build a business that can stand on its own 2 feet and that can run and operate and still make money, whether you, the owner, are physically present or not. So happy to talk about that or anything else that you guys may find interesting.
Oh yeah, there's a lot interesting in there.
Right?
But I really want to get into the systems and the building the lifestyle around the business and that kind of stuff. But I think the thing that's got me the most fascinated right off the bat was the 19 books thing. That's a lot of books. So I'm curious, like there's obviously some sort of system or process or something behind being able to write 19 books. Can you speak into that for a minute?
Yeah, sure. So one of the things that I again, finding coaches. So I had this idea to write a book, right? It was originally going to be 1 book. And then I went along to an event with a guy called Mark Victor Hansen, who's obviously a household name in America, having created the Chicken Soup for the Soul series, right? Yeah. And he said, don't think book series. And he basically said, you don't make money from just writing 1 book, you should actually turn it into a series. And so I came up with this series concept called the Secrets Exposed series. And what I would do is I'd find experts in a particular field. So say it was like property investing, and I'd find 15 people and I'd go and interview them. And I'd take all of their kind of best ideas and put it together in a book. So these were compilation style books that I put together. And the other thing that we can unpack further is just getting really good at systems, because you don't make money from doing something once. You make money by creating a system and then repeating it over and over again. And so when I was doing something, like if someone said yes to me, then I'd write them obviously a thank you note. But I was like, my mindset is, will I ever have to do this again? And if the answer is yes, it's like, okay, I've got to build a system around it. Will I ever be rejected again? Yes. Okay. Build a system for that. Every time someone said something to me, like, how long is it going to take me? Will I ever have to answer this question again? Yes. So I build a system for that as well. Yep. And so the first book probably took me about almost a year to produce. And then the following year, I was able to do 2 books in the next year. But then the third year, and this is crazy, I did 11 books in 1 year. So that was it was very intense. And I was going to do it over 2 years, but my wife said we're having a baby. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to compress 2 years worth of work into 1 year. But the reason being is because I had great systems. And by that stage, I could afford to hire someone to help me. So when you've got good systems and you've got good people and you've got a really kind of like good product, then you can really scale. And so, that's how I was able to do it, is because we had these really good systems and I just picked different topics and it was the same kind of cover, same look and feel, just different people, different content. But, printer was the same, typesetter was the same, designer was the same. All of that stuff was just like a cookie cutter, rinse and repeat type business.
Well, I love it because it sounds like it's also kind of a curation model to write the book. It sounded like, right? So you're getting experts to provide the information. I'm sure you're filling it in with, and formatting it through a flow that best makes sense. So yeah, it's very systemized at that.
Exactly. So I didn't even have to have all of the knowledge. I just had to ask all the right questions, like you guys are doing right now, and then was able to put it together in a book. So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
All right, we had Mark Victor Hansen on the podcast, I don't know, a few months back, and I think he said that he's at 257 books written or something.
He's in the hundreds,
and he's writing 8 this year too. So yeah, I mean, it's all about systems. I know he's got them.
Yeah,
it's wild, man. But
that's very cool.
I'm kind of curious. I want to go back to the whole thing of you basically running around school and starting so many businesses, all these things. Was it competitiveness in you, or was it the lack of the lazy? You just don't want to be the slow, mover, or is it a mission thing for you? Do you just have something that you're shooting for that drives you really hard?
Yeah, I think because, having a lot of energy as a kid and all throughout my life was just kind of, so that's part of it. The other thing is just, maybe from my gymnastics training, you definitely get a competitive streak, in you, because, you go along and it's just like, hey, it's fun. And, I'm training and it's good. But then you get to a competition and it's like, okay, game on, there's judges and there's scores and there's people are cheering and it's like, hey, I want them cheering for me, God damn it. So,
That's right.
You start to get really competitive. And so everything you kind of see, and it's not so much competing with, maybe it's competing with other people, but now it's just kind of competing with yourself. Like, what can I do? How can I push myself? Yep. And I find that it's actually, for me, it's exciting, it's entertaining. When I'm just trying to see what I could do to push the boundaries, like doing 11 books in 1 year, I thought to myself, wow, that's crazy. And sometimes it's to my detriment because I just go, that would be fun. And then I don't realize the work and and this stuff that's involved. And that's part of my success has been kind of making these insane, setting these insane kind of goals. And then just going, I'm just going to have to figure it out. And I'd called up the book distributor who was getting all the bookshops. And, the way that they work is that book has to be there on the 15th of September, because that's it. The trucks are coming to pick that book up and sending them around the country. If it's not there, you're screwed. Yeah. So I just had to deliver. There was no other option. And sometimes I was up to 2 a.m. in the morning and I had toothpicks in my eyes going, I can't do this. I need to get to bed. But I didn't have another option. It wasn't like I could just go, I'll just pick the work up tomorrow. It just had to get done. I wouldn't recommend it. And I probably wouldn't do that today because I do like, kind of my sleep. And
I hope so.
But but when you're young, you just go, well, let's screw it. Let's do it.
Yeah, man. I love that. It's like, you can almost sprint for a period of your life, effective sprinting, and then know you have a game plan. And obviously that's when systems really come into play and ideally carry you further. So, maybe we chat and deep dive around systems and your philosophy. I guess start us with your philosophy of, you kind of already hinted at it. You gave us little breadcrumbs there. Anything you need to do twice, especially if it's a big monumental thing, create a system. So
I literally wrote that down. I wrote, will I have to do this again? Build a system. There you go. That's just such simple but amazing advice. I love that.
Yeah. And it's I haven't got one on this desk, but actually let me show you. Wait there for 1 sec.
Sure.
So, okay, if you're listening to just the audio, I just went and got this from my desk, and it basically is a mouse pad.
I love that.
And it says exactly that. So it says, will I ever have to do this again? If yes, build a system. So every single time I do something, you've got to ask yourself, is this a one-time task, something you'll only ever do once? If it is, just hurry up and get it done. But if you go to yourself, you know what, I probably will need to do something like this again, in next week or next month, or even kind of once a year. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of open up a document and I'm going to map out my process for doing this particular task. Now, in the beginning, it was mainly text and it was checklists and stuff like that. But now I think the easiest thing to do is to use something like Loom or Screenomatic or Screencastify and just record your screen. So I just do whatever it is that I'm doing, and I just talk over the top. I like narrate my thinking that goes into that. And so then I just take that video and send it to my VA, my virtual assistant, and then they basically take it and put it into our library of systems. So we've got something like maybe 600 systems that we have now, but it's everything from how to use the coffee machine to how to turn on and off the alarm, you know, to how to set up the boardroom for a meeting or a presentation, how to run an event. Like everything is just there, from the smallest detail. Like we had you know, a light that went out in the bathroom, and afterwards it was like, okay, well, where's the new light bulb, you know? And so we built a system for how to change the light bulb in the bathroom, just because it's like, if that ever happens again, I don't want to have to waste time, you know, thinking about what to do. And if I'm away, if I'm in another place, someone else needs to do that for me. So that's definitely a big part of it. Just asking yourself, you know, will I ever have to do this again? And document that in some way. Video just seems to be, for me, the fastest and easiest. But sometimes it's a checklist, sometimes it's a photo, sometimes it's an audio file, sometimes it could be a flow chart. So it really depends on you know, how complicated it is. But just if you can get it out of your head, it's going to save you a lot of time in the future.
So what do you use for like your storage system? You said it kind of goes into a place that it's all indexed and people can find it. How is that all sorted? What do you use for that?
Yeah, so we've tried lots of different things. Like back in the day, a company called 37 Signals used to have a product called Backpack. And that was like really cool. It was like, take it, put it in your backpack. For some reason, sadly, they stopped producing that product. They obviously had a bigger fish to fry. But even that was a great system back in its day. The new one that we now use is Google Sites. So everyone's heard of Google. Google Sites is a free product for building a website. Now, it's not a good product for building a public-facing website, but it's a really good product for building a private website. So you know, we call these intranets. It's basically like an internal website that is only accessible by you and your staff. And so Google Sites is where we put all of our systems. If you're heavily involved in the Microsoft stack, the equivalent product would be SharePoint. SharePoint is kind of Microsoft's answer to systems storage. If you are a sort of software kind of company or engineering company, then you might be looking at Confluence, which is an Atlassian product. But for most small business owners, Google Sites, it's free, it's easy to use, and you can just basically dump in all of your systems. And especially if you've got some of your systems in videos, you can embed YouTube videos, you can embed documents that you have, you can embed spreadsheets, and just basically embed everything into Google Sites.
Wow. That's awesome. Yeah, we'll be using that.
Yeah,
for sure.
Perfect.
Yeah. So just to kind of explain around systemization, there's one thing I'm going to back up the truck in just a minute, if it's okay, and talk to you about the mindset piece, because that's really important as well. There's some sort of stuff, the beliefs that people have, which holds them back from building systems. But just to keep moving forward for now. So when it comes to systemizing your business, there's three main things that every business needs: a knowledge hub, a place to store all of your systems. So that would be Google Sites, as we've discussed. Another one is some type of project management or task management tool to manage all of the to-dos, because Google Sites tells people, you know, how to do stuff, and like how to change a light bulb, or tells them how to kind of use the coffee machine, how to prepare for a meeting, things like that. But it's not a scheduling tool. It doesn't say when to do certain things. So it doesn't do any task management. So that's where you need something like Asana, which starts off as free. It's a really great product. And then it's like $50 a month, super cheap. You've got Monday.com, which is another one. You could use Basecamp, which is another one by 37 Signals, or the one that I use is called Teamwork. So teamwork.com. And it's a really cool project management tool, and all of the systems go in. So just to give you a quick example of that, when we run an event, we run 4 big conferences a year in Australia. There's, let's just say, 180 things that we have to do to put on an event. And so, and it has a date. So you have the project as the kind of the main event, but then you have these milestones that live before and these milestones that live after. So for example, 3 months before, we have to book the AV. We've got to make sure that the staging is set and make sure that we've booked the DJ or whoever we're kind of using 3 months before. And then 2 months before, you got to do certain things. And then 1 month before, you got to do things. And then 1 week before, and then even 3 days before and 1 day before. And then after the event, it's even though you've finished, you still haven't finished, because 3 days later, you've got to return all the gear, you've got to do this. And then 1 week later, you've got to send the recordings. And then 1 month later, you've got to, do all this stuff. So basically what you do is think about like a tree. Like the event is the trunk, all the milestones are the branches, and all the leaves are the tasks. Now, it takes you maybe 2 or 3 hours to build this into as a project, but then you can go file, save as template. And then the next time you're running an event might be on the 12th of March. And what you could do is you can basically go to the 12th of March and go create new or use existing template, and you click use existing template. And then it basically drops down this huge amount of tasks that are already now pre-scheduled with the times, the dates of exactly when things need to get done. Right. So every single year, it takes us like 5 minutes to pick the 4 conference dates. And then we go copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. And there's probably 1,000 tasks that are then preloaded like that. And every staff member will get notified when they have to do something. Oh, it's 2 months out from an event, I've got to do this. Oh, it's one week out from that, I've got to do something else. And so we've got all of the tasks, all in teamwork. Yeah.
Very cool.
So teamwork is what we use for all of our task management. And it means that I can log in from anywhere in the world and I can see what my staff are working on at any point in time. So it's like mission control in a way for all of the tasks. And what we normally do is that if someone sees something and they go, oh, I've got to organize a DJ for the event. They go, how do I do that? In the description, there's a link to the system. And that system normally lives in Google Sites. Right. So Google Sites tells people how to do something, and then Teamwork tells people when to do something. And then the third thing that every business needs for systemization is because up until now, these first two are more internal, but then you've got the interface between you and your clients, and that's normally your CRM. Right. So every business needs a good CRM, whether it be Active Campaign or Entreport or Copper, Capsule. There's heaps of them out there, but that is really going to help you to systemize the client interaction part of your business. So if someone opts into your lead magnet, into your database, then there's a follow-up series. If they become a client, there's a campaign that they go on for the onboarding. If they put their membership on hold or they cancel, we've got a system for that. And if they become inactive, we want to try and re-engage them. So that they're the 3 kind of core tools that every business needs. They need a place to store their systems, knowledge hub, they need a place to manage all their tasks, and they need a CRM to manage the client interaction.
That's brilliant, man. So I want to go back to the task management, so specifically teamwork, or maybe Asana, but do you have templates, or do you know of places where folks listening, or even us, can look at templates from other companies, maybe related companies or purposes for projects out there?
Yeah. So, and I'm not here to sell my program, but I have a business program that I run, and I give all my clients all of my systems that I've created over the years for sort of like doing everything. So we've documented about 400 systems, and we've made them a bit more sort of like generic, that it can be applied to any business. And when someone works with us, we give them all the systems, and it just saves them 12 months of work having to try and build them themselves.
Well, where can pitch it? It's all good. Because immediately when you were saying that, I'm like, I don't want to build all that, but I want to see something made by someone that really knows their stuff and then modify it.
Yeah, I could sort of show you, but we've actually, let me just quickly get something and I can show you one second.
Okay, sweet.
Ivy or Simone, can you get me the stack of systems that are downstairs in the studio? The systems, the blueprints. Yeah, thank you. I'll show you exactly what we do.
Super cool. Thank you.
You're gonna have a bit of work with editing, but otherwise people can see this is real, and this is a live office at the moment. I've got my staff doing stuff. So yeah,
it's great, man. No, I see people running around getting stuff for the podcast. No, I love this because I was thinking it's a natural progression. You need to have a place to store all these SOPs, systems, I guess whatever you want to call them. Have a place when you said like when can all this stuff get done, and having the replicatable or duplicatable projects I think is absolutely brilliant. I haven't heard anybody really, and then have it actually notify your team members as well. So it's not like you have to go through and start communicating with everyone. Is that a teamwork thing that actually like triggers those notifications?
Yeah. So you can, when you set up a task, you can just have it in the system and have to physically log in, or you could send them email notifications. So I would just set it up so they get one email notification a day that has a summary of all of the things that are due today. Or you can do SMSs as well, SMS reminders. So yeah, these are why I was so excited to come on your podcast actually is because the hustle and flowchart kind of name really appealed to me, because these is basically flowcharts that we have and we give our clients access to. And so we have created 400 of these bad boys, and basically everything that kind of like I've learned in the last 20 years about how to run and grow and scale a successful business, we've put into these flowcharts. And when a client kind of joins, we give them access to, all of this stuff. So basically shows them exactly what to do.
Like if you were just to pull like a couple at random, like what are some of the like tasks that those break down?
Yeah, so this is how to record a podcast interview.
Oh, nice.
See how to record a podcast interview. We've got how to prepare for a podcast interview. We've got how to edit and upload a podcast interview. But then we've got cool. This one is how to like purchase goods and equipment for a business. This one here is how to create an asset register. We've got how to book flights and accommodation, how to book this is like if your staff, because rather than you doing it, this is how to book a restaurant for a meeting. Perfect. So you just give this to your virtual assistant and say, hey, I've got, I want to book, dinner with Matt and Joe, make that happen. This is like how to engage a website developer. This one here is how to set up a board of directors, how to take payments, how to manage an email campaign. And so all of the main stuff that you have to do within a business, we've documented and systemized it all.
That's brilliant.
That's so cool.
So how does the training element look like when you create a new system and you get your team on board, or you say you find the perfect person for it? Is there a process that you go through for training that person to follow the SOP or that system, or is it like that explanatory where there's like no communication?
Yeah. So normally what we would do is the first kind of week is going to be training, and the training is not you sitting down and spending a week with them, because you don't know whether this person, even though you've hired them, you sort of know that they're the right person until they've probably worked with you for maybe a month. And then you can kind of go, this is working great, or no, this person's not a right fit, or they're not who I thought that they were, or they're just like, they're leaving on the 5 o'clock on the dot every day. They're just not that committed. And so the worst thing you could do is spend a whole week or a whole month training someone, and then they leave, because then you go, what do I do? I've invested so much time, and I want to get rid of them, but then I don't want to go back to nothing. So basically the training should be, hi, Sarah, really excited to be working with you. So your first week is going to be training. I'm going to send you a link to, and we have like a Google site page, which has all of the links to all of the systems that they're going to need. So it's going to be like things like how to set up their email signature, how to book a meeting room at the office, how to whatever is in their particular role, like even how to use the coffee machine, all the stuff that they need to know, just in terms of like logistics or how the office kind of like works, but actually right to their specific role. So if they were working at events, it would be how to negotiate with venue providers. It's going to be how to manage like confirmations, how to set up stage. All of that stuff will be there. So the first week is designed to take them from knowing nothing about your business to knowing like 70 to 80% of what they're going to need to know, so that they can get up to speed. And I say, watch the videos, go through the systems, absorb as much as you can. Anything that's not clear or doesn't make sense to you, write it down. And then we're going to spend like probably half a day going through, and I'll answer all your questions that you have. But then come Monday week, you're basically going to be hitting the ground running, and you'll have tasks that will start to be sent to you. And if you don't know how to do something, first step is to Google, use Google Sites and find it, because 9 times out of 10, there's going to be a system around how to do it. And then if you exhaust that, you chat to the team. And if you can't get an answer, then you come chat to me. And so that's how I've been able to travel for 4 months of the year, is because most of the time my team can basically find the answers themselves.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Well, let's jump back to the mindset. So you mentioned that there was some blocks that hold people up from actually creating the system. So let's talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, so because I've helped thousands of people to learn about how to build systems. And unfortunately, I know that not everyone kind of like implements it. And after talking with thousands of people, I've realized that there's 2 main beliefs that hold people back. And this really stops them from really implementing systems the way that they should. And when I do this at a live event, I prove to people how much it's hardwired into most business owners. I only need to say the first half of the sentence, and I get the audience to call out the second half of the sentence. So the first one is, it's faster if I do it myself. I do it myself, right? Yeah. So that's the default for most business owners. It's faster if I do it myself. And I help them to understand, yes, that's true in that moment, but you're only thinking about things for that day, right? It's faster if I do it myself, sure. However, what you got to realize is this task you're probably having to do maybe 10 or 15 or 20 or 30 times this year. And if you say that to yourself over and over again, like if there's a task like doing stock take, takes you maybe 30 minutes a week, and you go, it's faster if I do it myself. That's true. But then the next week you have to do it again, and the next week again and again and again. So if it's 30 minutes times a year, that's like 26 hours worth of time. So you got to think kind of long term on this stuff. So if you go, okay, and you ask yourself that question, will I ever have to do this again? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a system of how to do that, how to do stock take. And what I would do is I'd get one of my team, or I'd just get a tripod, and I'd go into my kind of warehouse, and I'd go, okay, I'm filming myself now doing stock take, and you just do it and you narrate over the top, and now you got to do this, and then you do this, and you do this, and you just maybe you go a bit slower, and maybe it takes you an hour. It takes you an hour to do that, and then you take it and you build a system. Let's just say that takes you another hour, but then after that, you're then going to hire someone else and say, well, from now on, every Wednesday at 10 a.m., you need to do stock take. There's going to be an email that's going to be sent that'll remind you exactly what you need to do. And this is the system that you need to follow. And let's just say that they make a few mistakes the first time. And so it takes you another hour just to kind of get them up to speed. So maybe it takes you 3 hours, but now that's off your plate forever. And so that's going to save you 23 hours worth of time over the course of a year for that one task. And if you times that by, might not seem like a lot, but if you times that thinking by 10 or 20 or 30 different tasks, we're talking about hundreds or thousands of hours of time that you'll save over the course of the year. So I help people to realize it's not faster to do it yourself. It's basically slower, and it'll keep you trapped in your business forever. Yeah. So that's the first belief we have to kind of smash and get rid of, and help people to realize that all they're doing is holding themselves back by holding on to that belief. And I basically say, from now on, never ever say to yourself, it's faster if I do it myself. All you're doing is shooting yourself in the foot. It's slower. You need to build a system and pass it on to someone else. And the next one is this, okay? And again, I'm just going to give you the first half of the sentence, and then you can finish the sentence for me. There's slight variations for this, but it's basically the same message. And it goes like this, okay? Nobody can do it. Finish the sentence. Yeah, nobody can do it better than me, or nobody can do it as good as I can. Right. So that's the That's the belief. So what happens is somehow we've convinced ourselves that we are the only person that can do what we do, that we've got special skills and special powers. And yes, I understand that there are some people that may have been to university for like 8 years. Sometimes like I've got clients and they're like cosmetic dentists and they go, you don't understand. Like what I do is like, I had to do 10 years worth of training to do this. And I'm like, yes, I get it. But first thing about that is that's only 5%, maybe 10% of your business is when you're doing that art. The rest of the business is still like, how do you open the surgery? How do you prepare for a patient? How do you answer the phone? How do you do this? And how do you do that? So forget about the 10% of the business that you can't systemize, because maybe that's like your Picasso, or that's your kind of genius. But all the other stuff around that makes that art possible is just stuff. And so don't worry about what you can't systemize. Focus on the 80-90% that you can systemize. But the other answer to that is that at the end of the day, what you do is just a series of thoughts and a series of steps. And if you believe it's possible, it's one of those things like Henry Ford said, if you believe you can, you're right. If you believe you can't, you're also right. And so if you believe it's never possible, no one could ever do what I do, then great. Get ready, be prepared to do that for the rest of your life and have no life, because you'll be stuck doing that forever. So that's the alternative, is you'll keep doing it. You'll hold yourself back. You won't be able to grow. You won't be able to scale because there's only one of you. There's only so many hours in a day. So the way to kind of grow and the way to have freedom is to realize the fact that, you know, if you believe you can train someone else, and you believe it's possible, then, you know, it can be possible. And here's the thing about that is that 80% as good done by someone else is better than 100% done by me. Okay. So when you're looking at a certain task, like even if they're not going to get to 100%, because you're amazing at what you do, but if they get to 80%, that might have saved you 10 hours worth of time. Then you pick it up from 80% and you take it to 100%. That might take you half an hour or an hour. So even though I can write my own like email campaigns, I go, you know what, it's going to take me 10 hours to do it. I'm going to dictate what I want. I'm going to pass it to one of my team. I'm going to let them give it their best effort. It'll come back to me at 80%. That's great. That saved me the first 8 hours. Then I'm going to spend the last 2 hours and I'm going to get that to, you know, where I feel I'm happy with it. And then I'll get it out there. So this idea of no one can do it as good as I can, that is, it's another thing that holds you back. And what it does is it actually creates a lid to your potential. Now, what I mean by that is, and this is going to go into a little bit of psychology, and we won't go deep dive here, but if you believe that to be true, no one can do it as good as what I can. If you're having to hire staff, you will subconsciously hire someone that will prove your belief to be true, because that's basically what happens in our life. We have, like, if you believe something is true, like if you believe you are unlucky in life, you'll always see evidence to prove that to be true, because that's what you'll be attracting. That's what you'll see of all of the things that are out there. But if you believe you're a lucky person, then you'll see good opportunities everywhere because you believe that you attract. And it's the same thing. So if you believe no one can do it as good as what you will do, you will hire a person who will be he'll be less than you, because when they stuff up, you'll go, I knew it. I knew I couldn't get any help. I knew that no one was going to do a great job. You know what? It's better that I do it myself. And that will reinforce your belief. But if you have this belief of, I can find other people out there that are as good as me, if not better than me. And if you humble yourself and you actually allow yourself to say, you know what? I don't want to be the smartest person in my business. I want to be the dumbest person in my business.
That's right.
I want to find people that are better than me. Then what you'll do is you'll hire up, not hire down. Hiring down is people that you can control and you can dominate and you can always be better than. Hiring up is people that you know what? You're capable. You're amazing. You're fantastic. You're way better at this than me. Go for it and let people outshine you. That's what you want as a business owner. Because one day you want to be somewhere else and you want them, you know, shining. And the only way that's going to happen is if you start believing that you aren't, you know, this magical unicorn, that you're just a person that's learned some stuff and gotten good at something. But if you have the courage to let go and to train someone else, that they might surprise you. They may be, they may be only 80% as good as you, and that's still 100% awesome if they're 80% as good as you. But maybe they could be as good as you, and maybe one day they could even be better. And that's exactly what you want, right?
Yeah, man.
So that's my little rant around the two biggest beliefs. And if there's a third one, it would be this: I can't find good people. And that's another one of those things. If you keep saying and believing that to be true, you just then that's what you'll have. That's what you'll find. People will always be a disappointment for you. But if you believe there is great people out there, I just need to find them, then you'll find great people. But if you believe that people are impossible to find, then unfortunately you will create that reality for yourself.
Yep. Yeah. And then maybe even a fourth one could be, it's cheaper if I do it myself. I think a lot of people refuse to do the systems because they're like, I don't want to bring additional cost into my business. So I don't want to hire somebody to do this because, I could do it myself for cheap.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. It's cheaper if I do it myself. But then you just got to look at your kind of like, hourly rate, right, and look at if you, and I can send you all the maths equations, but, I did a kind of different income levels and worked out the hourly rate. And basically most business owners, if you want to make, say $500,000 in revenue, maybe $100,000 in profit, your time is worth probably somewhere between $150 to $200 an hour. And so anything that is less than that, here our minimum wage is about $20 in Australia, which is pretty high. But I say to people, if you can find someone for anything less than what your time is worth, then you should outsource it, both in your business and also in your personal life as well. Having someone that cleans your house, having someone to do your landscaping, gardening, or anything that's going to take up your time. Like for me, I want to be growing my business, or I want to be hanging out with my kids and traveling and being with friends. Anything else that's just like not worth my time, I want to delegate and pass that on to someone else. And it's not about thinking I'm better than anyone. Like I believe, in God's eyes, we're all, all the same, but it's just about going, it's just not smart for me to be, cleaning my house when I could pay someone else, $30, $40 an hour for them to do it. So I could spend, that time working on a marketing campaign or talking to a joint venture partner, or to be on a sales call where I, could be making $10,000 for that same hour of time. It just doesn't make any sense. So I love kind of like helping people, hiring people, because it's kind of like, if it's not them doing it, it's me doing it. And it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I mean, you just explained what a true leader does too, and it's all the way back to the type of people you're hiring and all the mindsets that you're working through. Because without those, you're not really leading. So I love it, man. No, I mean, this is just fabulous. And I love busting these myths, because when you quantify, especially the hours or the dollars or the money you're putting out there, the investment in yourself, and maybe the time you're losing, like you said, I feel like it's very easy to make these decisions. It's just simple math. You're like, okay, doesn't make any sense. So I love it, Dale. Well, let's wrap this up. I mean, is there, businessblueprint.com, right? Is that the best place to send folks if they wanted to explore the templates or, your coaching?
Yeah. We're kind of been like the best kept secret in terms of the fact that we've had this amazing program for 12 years now, but we've really only been selling in Australia and New Zealand, and we've helped more than 2,500 business owners, and it's been amazing. But now through technology, we're now expanding into North America and into Europe and throughout Asia, and we can now help business owners anywhere. So we have more than 400 systems that our clients get access to. We run weekly classes and training on all sorts of different business topics. We run about 4 big conferences per year. We have coaching that people get access to me and my team as well. And we just basically love helping people in order to grow and transform their business, and to basically use their business to be able to give them a bigger life, not to suck the life out of them. A lot of people, unfortunately, their business consumes for a lot of the reasons that we spoke about. Their business is all consuming, and sadly, they're working 5 times harder than what their staff are. And by the time they've paid all their bills, there's not a lot of money left because they're doing too many low priority tasks. And so, I believe at the end of the day, if you've got a good business, it should become, like, I'll call my business my dream machine, because literally that's what it is. It's a vehicle for you to create the life of your dreams, and help people work smarter. And the benefit of that is they not only will they make more money, because there definitely is a kind of the maths that we sort of spoke about in terms
correlation
of when you put your that's right. When you put your time in the right places, you'll make a lot more money, because you'll be working on your business, growing it, not just in the day-to-day stuff. But there's things that are way important than money. Your kids, picking them up from school, maybe not every day, but once a week, just picking them up from school and putting your arms around them as they come through the gate, or being able to have coffee with your wife every morning, or being able to enjoy the school holidays, or going away for Christmas. Or this is life, and this is memories. And if you've got little kids, like I've got two boys, the memories that we've created in the last decade, I'll have forever, because one day, they're going to be all grown up, and they'll be like, where's the keys to the car? And they'll be gone.
You're like, we don't want to see you. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll be like, I can, remember all the amazing times that we sort of shared together. So that's really, for me, what it's all about, is giving people back, their life, and helping them to achieve time and money freedom.
Amen to that. I think more people need to hear that, because I know that's been a big focus of ours throughout the years, and even more so lately. Because I have a new kid as well, and you have a couple. Yep. Matt does. So yeah, you're right. Time goes by fast, and let's make the most of it, because the vehicles, or the businesses, are a vehicle to create an amazing life, not only for ourselves, but for our team and everyone else, our customers as well, along the way. So it's
absolutely. Yeah. So I have free training on my website. Like, I literally just want to help as many people as possible, whether people buy or don't buy. That's really up to them. But I just, like sharing my knowledge just to improve people's lives. And if they go to businessblueprint.com, there's a free on-demand training that they can download instantly, and they can watch, or otherwise I do these one-day boot camps that are, again, free. If it's of benefit, then go along, and I'd love to help.
Cool, man. This is great.
Yeah, this has been amazing. I think I took more notes on this one than most of the other podcasts we've done. So systems is something that I just nerd out over. I mean, you can see I'm like anybody who's listening to the audio, I'm like leaning in, just like taking furious notes and stuff. Yeah. So this has been amazing.
Well, thank you, Dale. Appreciate you, man. And,
you're welcome, guys.
Have a great one, and hopefully you can
and keep the flowcharts going. I love the Hustle and Flowchart name. When I saw it, I was like, I gotta work with these guys. This is my jam.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I appreciate you, brother. Cool, man. Have a good one.